Oh my goodness, we got a good one today. Let me make sure I got the sound right. So, this gentleman, Metal Gear Mando, he put out a video. Twitter found out about 40K. He put it out 10 months ago. I'm just now seeing it. I think this is the funniest thing ever. Um, so let's get into it and do it bit by bit. Actually, there is a part I want to get to.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Not that long ago, Games Workshop gave us a trailer for Warhammer 40K's 10th edition. And this trailer, and make sure you know that this trailer right here, with these Space Marines fighting giant space bugs, you need to know that this is actually very insensitive. It harkens back to a real-world event. Just a small one, you may have heard of it, World War II. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you a games company who has made a reach that is just so implausible. They had to have utilized the warp because
This
there
is
is
actually
no way
fun. Let
you
me
can get from this
let me switch
trailer
my lights
to
real
their
quick.
conclusion.
Let me switch my lights real quick because this is some of the best shit I've ever heard. And don't get me wrong, there are people that believe this, and that is actually hilarious to me. So I'm gonna do something I don't think I've ever done on stream. I do want everyone to see this. I do break a few of the rules, but I do want everyone to see. That is a Star of David. For anyone who does not know, I am Jewish. Like, I really don't talk about it too much. Or at least I don't talk about it unless it's brought up. I mean, you know, I live in Central Virginia, and for anyone who lives in Central Virginia, that is not that's not really a pleasant conversation. To give you an idea, in I believe a 50, at least 25, maybe 50-mile radius, there are only 2 synagogues. So yeah, is that something I talk about much, at least in the area? I will make some off-color jokes every once in a while. Speaking of jokes, let's get back into it.
Which is that this Warhammer 40K trailer is actually fascist propaganda. That this is actually a reminder of the Nazis killing Jewish people back in World War II.
I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I'm going to do a shout out to a much bigger channel than mine. Arch Warhammer did a video on the Death Leaper, or I believe it might have just been Lictors in general, but he did a special mention of the Death Leaper. And if I remember correctly, his friend and mine as well, I haven't talked to him in a while, but someone that I'm on good terms with, Kibbs, drew an anime version of the Death Leaper at the foot of the bed. And I wish I would have thought about that before I started streaming this. But I literally just I checked out 2 minutes of the video and I'm like, I've got to stream this. This is the best shit I've ever heard. So I really wish I could have had a anime Death Leaper with the little twirls and the yarmulke or one of the big Jewish hats. That would have been funny as
I'm
anything.
not joking. But before we get further into this, if you enjoy me and the
Also, there were
content that
no
I
women
create,
in World
be
War
sure
II.
to drop a
Surprise!
like on this video,
Not in a combat
subscribe
sense,
if you
anyway.
haven't already, and share this video around. While you're at it, down in the comment section, let me
Actually, let me backtrack that because there were there was a Russian air division that was all women, called the Night Witches, that scared the ever living hell out of the Germans.
Know what your favorite and what the best Warhammer 40k faction is. Tell me why it's the Ultramarines. Now,
I mean, favorite trader, favorite loyalist. I mean, come on. Ultramarines suck. She's out. She's out. Alright.
Now, in this video, I'm probably going to have the trailer for Warhammer 40k's 10th edition playing in the background, maybe mixed in with some Darktide gameplay, I don't know. But
Oh, please,
I
please do.
highly encourage you to go check out the Warhammer 40k 10th edition trailer yourself, because I'm not seeing where they say the Imperium of Man are the good guys. Ad Astra Games, who's apparently a game company, but you wouldn't really know that by going to their Twitter account because it's just full of politics. I don't just mean like so.
Okay, let me try and see if I understand. Based on what he said, my 1-year-old is upset. So based on what he said, he believes the Imperium are not the good guys. Let me rewind it just to make sure I heard this correct.
Yourself, because I'm not seeing where they say the Imperium of Man are the good guys. Ad Astra Games, who's a
Okay, taking this at a massive face value, I can't tell if he's saying he does not believe that they are the good guys, or if Ad Astra Games is saying they are not the good guys. So on that note, I'm going to treat it as both, which really has the same answer. In the comments below, leave who you think are the good guys of Warhammer 40k. Because here's really your options. You got the Imperium of Man, the Tyranids, you got the Dark Eldar, the Eldar, Chaos, the Tau. I know I'm forgetting something. And let me be clear about when I say Imperium of Man. Imperium of Man encapsulates the Imperial Navy, the Imperial Guard, the Sisters of Battle, and the Space Marines, and all their functions, including the Grey Knights and the Inquisition, of course. Those are all part of the Imperium of Man. Now, does groups within the Imperium of Man do crappy stuff sometimes? Absolutely, 100%. The Inquisitors are a thing. But are they the bad guys? Yeah, big question mark there. I think, in all honesty, there are no good guys in 40k. There are just levels of gray. If a gun was pointed at my head and I had to pick good guys, it would be the Imperium, because it wouldn't be Chaos, it wouldn't be the Tyranids, it wouldn't be the Tau, because the Tau brainwash people into believing they're great or good, which, to be fair, the Imperium does brainwash some of its followers. But yeah, so again, there are just shades of gray.
apparently a game company, but you wouldn't really know that by going to their Twitter account because it's just full of politics. I don't just mean like social justice stuff in their games. I mean actual like voting rights, trans rights, people doing the communist salute. They just talk about everything that's not their games. I guess their games just suck so much ass that even they don't want to talk about them. But Ad Astra Games had this to say in response to this trailer. Sadly, Warhammer has gone back to fascism Mad Libs marketing of the Imperium as the good guys in Warhammer 40k 10th edition. I'm struggling to see anywhere in this trailer where they make the Imperium of Man. Struggling to see anywhere in this trailer Mad Libs marketing.
Okay. Sadly, Warhammer's gone back to fascism Mad Libs marketing of the Imperium as the good guys in Warhammer 40k 10th edition. Just covered that. Okay, I need you to point out to me in what point in the 10th edition marketing the Imperium is shown as the good guys. As far as I know, I saw the cinematic there showing a war effort led by Gilliman, and there's nothing said they are, and I quote, the good guys. They're fighting the Tyranids. If this were a fight of good and evil, per se, they would be the good guys. If it was a case of the Imperium versus Chaos, Imperium would be the good guys. If it were a case of Imperium versus the Eldar, there's a little room for debate. The Dark Eldar, Imperium is the good guys. The Tau, little room for debate, but not much in my opinion. Not enough to really matter. Like, come on. Like, actually, come on.
Of the Imperium as the good guys in Warhammer 40k 10th edition. I'm struggling to see anywhere in this trailer where they make the Imperium of Man out to be the good guys. And I'm just going to do a quick little condensed version for those of you who aren't familiar with 40k, what the Imperium of Man is. So you have the human race being led by what is basically an undead space wizard who's sitting on a golden throne that requires thousands of souls to be fed to him each and every day just to keep his corpse in this state of
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not thousands, it's 1,000 Psyker souls. And to call him an undead wizard is really oversimplifying. Think of it this way, whereas in traditional fantasy lore, a wizard has to learn their abilities. He would be closer to a sorcerer, where they're just innate, and it's less magic and more psychic abilities. Like, that's the easiest way to explain the Emperor.
undead so that humanity can still navigate the stars. The Imperium of Man are not the good guys. They're just humans, so we relate with the humans more. I mean, you could be human living outside of the Imperium, but then the Imperium shows up and says, "Can I talk to you about our Lord and Savior, the God Emperor?" And then if your response is, "Oh no, that's okay, I'm happy doing what I'm doing now," they say, "Fuck you, die," and they turn you and your family into corpse starch. They're basically space cavemen. They're afraid of new technology. Anything new is heretical, and you'll be...
That's not 100% true. Even in 30k, that was not true. Let's take the planet 6319, for example. So, 6319 is in the very first book, Horus Rising. It is the very first planet they come to. It is known as Terra, ruled by the Emperor of mankind. Because irony. That was the whole point of the story. They did not wipe out the entire population. They wiped out those who resisted. And yes, there was a level of disdain from the remaining population, but they fell under imperial law anyway. So no, they don't just kill everybody that disagrees with them. They try to, as much as I can't think of a better word, re-educate, because at this point in 30k, the Emperor is trying to eliminate religion to weaken or possibly eliminate the powers of chaos, whereas in 40k, it's kind of the same thing. It's just been twisted all to hell, would be the appropriate word.
killed for it. It's not great. Not the best regime to be living under. But because they're human...
Let's talk about the different regimes in 40k. Oh, I did forget. I forgot one group, the Orcs. The Orcs. I would not classify them as good or bad. I would classify them as a force of fucking nature. But let's talk about who you would want to live under in 40k. Chaos. Why is a tentacle sprouting from my butthole? Eldar. Well, Eldar doesn't like humans. Neither do the Dark Eldar. Dark Eldar. Plaything. By plaything, I mean torture dummy. The orcs will rip you apart. Yeah, the Imperium would be a very, very crappy place to live across all sci-fi universes. In fact, there's a meme. I really like this. Guy gets told he gets teleported to the Star Wars universe. Cool, I get to be a Jedi or be with the Rebels. That sounds really awesome. Star Trek, I get to be part of a landing crew and get to go exploring everywhere. That sounds really cool. Gets told he gets teleported to 40K. He's like, nope, I'm out. Like, 40K is a grim, dark universe. It is not meant to be desirable to be in from any aspect at all.
Human, and everything else in this galaxy wants you to die. You're kind of like, okay, I guess I'll die to something that speaks the same language that I do, or at the very least has the same amount of limbs as you do. And Warhammer in general is not really meant to be taken seriously. It is so over the top and bombastic that it's basically just a parody of itself, and the Imperium of Man takes all of the worst aspects of humanity, and they don't crank it to 11, they crank it to 15, and they put it to the forefront, and it's that absurdity that makes the Warhammer universe so fun.
I need an explanation of this. I really do. Take all the worst aspects of humanity. They are trying to survive the universe. They aren't just like cold-blooded killers. They aren't hyper aggressive. They aren't, insane. If you want that, I mean, look at the Night Lords. Look at the World Eaters. You know, those are aspects of chaos, not the Imperium. But if you really want an idea of the Imperium, and I'm going to use Space Marines as an example, look at the Primarchs. Look at Rabute Gilliman. Look at Sanguinius. Look at Jagatai Khan. Look at Rogel Dorn. Look at Lionel Johnson. Look at Corvus Corax. They all had, every Primarch, including the traitors, had a specific aspect to them that, when put all 18 together, kind of complemented each other and contradicted each other at the same time. So, no, they don't represent all the negative influences of humanity. A key example of this, and this is all up for debate, pardon me, is faith. Some people would argue that having faith is not a negative trait. Now, I would go to the extent of having a fanatical amount of faith. Yeah, it gets a little troublesome at some point. But in the case of 40K, it is required so you don't fall to chaos, so you don't so you don't have that fate of getting tormented by heretics, getting, torn apart by demons, stuff like that. So in this case, I could actually say the fanatical amount of faith could be considered a good thing. Play!
At least one
Thank
of the
you.
aspects. So, because they were getting absolutely bodied in the response to that tweet, they decided to clarify. Clearly,
Oh,
it's just
good.
a simple misunderstanding. They worded things poorly, right? This is going to take a few posts to reply. A. Put yourself in the POV of someone who's Jewish and knows.
Put yourself in the POV of someone who's Jewish. Hello! Hold on 1 second. I might have a visitor. Alright, let me keep that open just in case he responds. It's going to take a few posts to reply. Put yourself in the POV of someone who's Jewish. Hello, and knows nothing about the lore. Well, 14 plus years. The catchphrases used by the Imperium are almost direct copies of phrases used by Nazis to justify killing your grandparents. Are they? Are they, though? Now, look at the action in the cinematics. We have white guys murdering numberless hordes of aliens. Who are we supposed to empathize with? The Marines or the aliens they're slaughtering? Well, one side is talking to us, the other side's dying. That's a pretty easy answer. That's because the Tyranids don't care. They eat. They eat, break everything down into biomass, suck it up into their hive ships, and fuck off to another planet and do the same thing again. And to say white guys, yeah, I know the Ultramarines is a bad example, and as much as I hate this fact, there has been a canonical book with a black Ultramarine. My apologies, I'm still getting over being sick. The Salamanders, for fuck's sake. I mean, come on. We have white guys murdering numerous hordes of aliens. The aliens can't talk. They must be in the right.
Nothing about
Idiots.
the lore. The catchphrases used by the Imperium are almost direct copies of the phrases used by Nazis to justify
I thought it
killing
was
your
funny. Now I'm actually getting a little pissed.
I had to do with that little girl. What's that little girl? In the Holocaust, she had a Anne Hathaway, Frank
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Frank. That's a hiding bitch, ain't it?
They looked at this trailer.
Oh, it's an ad. Screw you, ad.
Where hordes of Tyranids, these disgusting, horrifying space insects that look at everything else as if they're either a threat or prey, and they said, yeah, but imagine being Jewish. Oh, but don't worry, their stupidity doesn't end there.
Oh, good!
Now look at the action in the cinematics. We have white guys murdering numberless hordes of aliens. Who are we supposed to empathize with?
Hold on 1 second. Before we go to that, on the white guys thing.
In the cinematics, we have white of Tyranids, these
I want to pause this real
disgusting,
quick.
horrifying
When I get to
space insects that look at everything else.
For anyone who does not know and does not have the lore, that is a dreadnought. That is a dreadnought which keeps a near-dead space marine in it. And that is their only way of fighting, to be put in a casket on legs with guns. White guys are doing all the killing against white guys. Yeah.
Else as if they're either
I'm
a threat
sorry,
or
it's really
prey,
just...
and they
It's
said,
starting to
yeah,
upset
but imagine
me.
being Jewish. Oh,
It
but
was
don't worry,
funny
their
for a
stupidity
while.
Doesn't end there. Now look at the action in the cinematics. We have white guys murdering numberless hordes of aliens. Who are we supposed to empathize with? The Marines or the aliens they're slaughtering? Well, one side is talking to us, the other side is dying. That's a pretty easy answer. Do they think they sound smart? Like, yeah, no shit, we're gonna side with the humans. Do you see these disgusting insects? Yeah, I'm pretty sure if you watch that trailer and you hear some screeching, horrid space cockroach, you're not gonna be like, oh, I wanna know what they have to say. Like, does it...
I will say I am happy with the teleportation animation. That was really cool. And the fact that it was Terminators that teleported in, that... double thumbs up for me.
Does this guy think it's Starship Troopers where, like, humanity kind of manufactured this attack on themselves just to go to war with, like, this bug race? Which, by the way, this person, were you calling out Starship Troopers for fascism, even though it was clearly mocking everything? Like, ultra-nationalism, the over-the-top violence, the military-industrial complex, I swear to God, whoever is tweeting out for this account would have a fucking meltdown if they saw that movie. They would be tweeting out, it's just like Hitler. And what does their race have to do with anything? Like, so what? All the Space Marines are white. What if it was salamanders? Which, yeah, sure, salamanders aren't like...
Salamanders! See? I even said salamanders, which, granted, is a little bit of a different vein. However, However, the reason they are that black because they come from a radioactive planet that is really close to a sun. Let that sink in. I'm going to leave it alone at that. But just little thinking points.
African black, but they're not like shade of white, they're black. So would it be okay then? Or what about the space wolves? Sure, they're white, but what happens if
Fuck the furries.
when they transform and now you have a bunch of wolves? So you have furries versus
Hold the fuck on. That's not right. They don't just they don't just manually transform into werewolves. That is a random circumstance that happens to the point where they have, I think it was a 13th grade company made up just for these people. Fucking.
insectoids. Would it be okay then? Or what about some of the forces of chaos? Let's say you have Slanesh with all of their deviant sex slaves.
Remember my argument before about Chaos not being the good guys?
Fighting the Tyrannid. Like, do you just draw the line at the skin color of the characters? Because that sounds kind of fucking weird. But my point is this. Ad Astra Games is taking this shit way too seriously. This is one step away from them calling the space cockroaches Jewish people. It's just like the orcs being black people thing.
No. This is now one step away from them calling the Tyranids Jewish people. They called the Tyranids Jewish people.
You
Which
don't
reminds
want to
me.
do that. You don't want to go down that route. Just let people have fun. That's what this whole trailer was meant to be. It's a celebration for Warhammer. First of all, hitting the 10th edition. That's a pretty cool milestone because we have simple monkey brains and we really like those round number milestones. But it's really cool to see. And the trailer gives fans what they want, which is to see giant armies fighting each other and slaughtering each other in absolutely insane ways. Like, God, I can't even imagine what Ad Astra Games is going to do when Warhammer Space Marine 2 releases and you're just killing hordes of Tyrannid. Never mind the fact that they're invading a human planet, killing, slaughtering, and not only that, but, you know, just taking people back to just turn them into this liquid jelly to add biomass to their fleet. Never mind all that. What about the poor bugs? The humans are.
Remember what I
oppressing
said
the
earlier
bugs.
about the biomass
I, for
thing?
one, can't wait till that game comes out because I'm going to be streaming it for you all. But before I go off on a tangent, that's what I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, I want to know what you think about all of this. Go ahead and let me know down in the comment section.
Okay, so my thoughts, because I think this is better than putting it in the comment section, or at least slightly more equitable, because this is my voice. That way, you know, a tone in my voice can't be translated through text. I will say this: even though there were a couple of lore areas that I don't think were 100%, overall a great video. Absolutely. Metal Gear Mando, awesome job on the video. Hit a lot of key points. I really enjoyed the video, not just because I got to make so much fun of Ad Astra Games, but you also made it entertaining as well, and I deeply appreciate that. So I will see you around the warp, and I